So there are a lot of great reasons to migrate to the cloud, including cost, better security, and access to more innovation. And for SQL in particular, there are some really great reasons to go to Azure. Number one is that both our SQL Server VMs as well as our Azure SQL Database managed database product have benefited from decades of engineering investment by Microsoft and customer feedback to make them the absolute best place to run your SQL. So Microsoft not only creates the database product, runs it, and helps to support customers, providing end-to-end seamless support for our SQL Database and SQL Server VM customers. Another place where you can get really great benefits from moving your SQL Server to Azure is TCO. Not only does Microsoft provide competitive pricing, we also have some great pricing offers, including Azure Hybrid Benefit that lets customers get credit for their on-premises SQL Server license investments.
So we always talk about Azure Hybrid Benefit. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so that is a great software assurance benefit for customers that own SQL Server on premises. And if they've kept up with their software assurance benefits, they get a lot of amazing benefits from that, including upgrade rights, failover rights, and the ability to get credit against running the database in Azure. So when creating a SQL Database or SQL Server VM, the customer can just check that they have Azure Hybrid Benefit to receive credit and get the best cost available.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And beyond these great TCO offers, there's always the benefit that Azure SQL Database is actually evergreen. And what we mean when we say that is that it never has to be patched or upgraded. It's actually just always running on the latest bits. And this is just removes a huge source of stress for our DBAs and on-premises administrators, the fact that they never have to worry about patching or taking their database offline for these things. They're just seamlessly upgraded to the latest.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so all that together with our product investments in limitless scale through our hyperscale offering, reliability, and as well machine learning-based security and performance means that customers really get the best destination for their on-premises SQL Server databases, also at the best cost when they move to Azure.
I see. So what do you actually mean by limitless?
Yeah, so let's click into SQL Database. I want to tell you more about that. So there's actually a storage option for Azure SQL Database called Hyperscale. And with Hyperscale, customers can get anywhere from 10 terabytes up to 200 terabytes plus of database storage, meaning that it's essentially bottomless for them. And they don't have to worry about the constraints of typical database storage when they move there. So it's a really great option for customers who have very large databases they'd like to take to the cloud. And it's also a way to make sure that the maintenance operations, things like backup and indexing for those very large databases, which can be difficult, are all taken care of.
I can appreciate that. I used to be a DB a long time ago.
Oh,
it was very hard
so you
to
know
do.
then.
Yes.
Yeah, so Azure SQL Database, let's stop here for a second and talk about what this product is. Azure SQL Database is actually Microsoft's managed database as a service offering for customers who want to get rid of some of that administration we were talking about, all the patching and the upgrades and the backups and the high availability and those things that just take you away from being able to innovate in your applications on-prem. Another great thing about it is that it has the broadest SQL Server compatibility of any cloud destination for SQL Server. You can actually take a SQL Server 2005 backup to Azure SQL Database. And it has compatibility levels back to SQL Server 2008, back to compat level 100. So very broad compatibility with on-premises SQL Server. And as well in managed instance, you can actually extend your on-premises security environment and your networking to the cloud with VNet support. So very seamless and compatible with what you're running on-prem. It also has competitive TCO through the Azure Hybrid Benefit that we talked about, limitless scale through hyperscale, and machine learning-based performance and security. That means that it has the built-in intelligence to notice when there's an unauthorized access attempt or maybe an attempt at SQL injection. And it also has performance tuning benefits. It will learn from your database's performance over time, watch it for regressions, and automatically go and fix your plan so that it stays executing at the highest level possible.
I see. So we're using machine learning actually in this case.
We are,
Fantastic.
yeah. It's smart.
That's great. That's great.
All right. So let's just sort of recap. Azure SQL Database, managed SQL Server in the cloud. Lots of great reasons to run your SQL in Azure SQL Database, including great TCO versus competitors with Azure Hybrid Benefit. Full parity based on 100% code consistency with SQL Server. It actually shares the same code base with SQL Server on-prem. It has great support for SQL Server, including the ability to move databases all the way back to 2005 to the cloud. And it has our amazing SLAs, including 99.99% availability SLA and the industry's only business continuity SLA.
I see service level agreements, SLA.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
And as well, we talked about the great machine learning-based performance and security benefits that you can get only in Azure.
All right, so can we talk about SQL Server on VMs as well?
Oh, yeah. So there's another great option for customers who are still need to maintain some of the characteristics of their on-premises SQL Server, such as running at a specific SQL Server version level or running on a specific Windows Server operating system. And for those customers, we have SQL Server on Azure VMs. It's a great destination for applications, like we mentioned, that need a specific version of SQL. And it takes advantages of a lot of the great investments that we've made for Azure virtual machines. Things that we've done, like our investments in security. Azure has the most compliant certifications of any public cloud at over 90 right now. It has absolutely seamless migration with 100% compatibility with your on-premises SQL Server. We also offer many types of pre-configured SQL Server VMs, including the cloud's only SQL Server Developer Edition. That's the free edition that you can get on premises. We offer it directly in the cloud as well.
So pre-configured VMs will definitely help, make it easy for folks to move.
Absolutely, yeah. You can pick the SQL Server version, like SQL Server 2017, as well as the edition, such as SQL Server Developer Edition, that you'd like to work with.
Yeah.
And all these VM images are created and tuned by the same engineering team that creates SQL Server. So you know that they're very well tuned and ready to go with your SQL Server workloads. We also give you some of the automation that we talked about with SQL Database. You can get automated patching for these machines. You can actually get automated backups, and you can get help setting up your HA. So really, it's a nice compromise between control over your SQL Server and automating away some of these chores that take up all your time.
Awesome.
And of course, you can also use Azure Hybrid Benefit in SQL Server on Azure VMs, just like you can on SQL Database, to get credit for your on-premises SQL Server license investments.
I see. So AHB is everywhere too.
It is, yeah. It's in our managed SQL as well as SQL Server on Azure VMs. So recapping why Azure SQL VMs are a great destination for your SQL Server. For one thing, when you combine all our pricing offers, including Azure Hybrid Benefit and free extended security updates for SQL 2008, it can be up to 5 times less expensive than competitors. And extended security updates, I don't know if we've talked about those previously.
No, let's talk about more details now, please.
So what those are for SQL Server 2008 and 2008 R2 customers who need more time to modernize their database. SQL Server 2008, as you might know, hit end of extended support in July of 2019.
Yes.
So we're no longer issuing security patches for it. But you can actually get 3 years of additional security patches through extended security updates. You can purchase those for use on premises, or you can get them for free when you move your SQL Server to Azure.
I see, to make it easy for customers.
Absolutely. It's a great way to get an extension, get some more time to modernize your SQL Server 2008 applications, and at no additional cost to you.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And then, as we talked about, there's all kinds of extra automation that you get with the VMs, including automated patching, the potential to automate backups, as well as ease of deploying HA using always-on availability groups. So lots of great benefits for customers who are considering moving their on-premises SQL Server to Azure. We have 2 great destinations, Azure SQL Database, which is our managed SQL Server that automates a lot of these administration tasks, and Azure SQL VM, that automates some of the management tasks that you don't need to spend time on while still giving you complete control over your configuration, including SQL version, operating system, as well as, say, your custom security.
Wow, thank you so much for all this great information,
Yeah.
Debbie.